So as we come to a close in 2019, everybody starts to think forward to 2020. And so this is an opportunity for us to think about how you can jumpstart your marketing program in 2020. We're going to go over 3 different things today. Things that you need to review before the end of the year, what you need to look back on to measure your past marketing results, and then tips to marketing your firm in 2020 and really have great success. So first, always want to review everything to make sure you're still in good shape. So one of the things you want to look at is your website. A lot of times people build it and just don't think about it again. So it's really important that at least every year you take a look at your website and look to see if there's anything that's outdated, things that need to get updated. So the most predominant ones are photos, information on how to contact you, maybe an address, phone number, maybe if you have directions to your firm and there was some construction and things have changed. You want to make sure you update all of that. Check any client testimonials you have. Make sure everybody is still a client. There's nothing more embarrassing than having somebody up there who's no longer a client and is working with somebody else. You also want to make sure that your website is mobile friendly or responsive. And the way to check that is just pull up your website on your phone. Can you see the website? Does it make sense? Are things getting cut off weird? If so, you might need to look at updating your website to make sure it's a responsive site, which kind of means it automatically resizes itself, or look to add a mobile-friendly version to your website. You also want to look at any online directories that you're currently listed in. So make sure you claim and verify your profile if you haven't. So Google My Business, Yelp, Angie's List, those are all the big ones that people are looking at to try to find a new accountant for themselves. You want to make sure the contact information is updated. And if there's anything that needs to be optimized, go for it. You also want to respond to any reviews. I know this is always a tough thing for people to do, but it shows that you actually care. It shows your personality, and it's a great way to look at positive and negative comments and actually show your side of the story, whether it's thank you or I'm very sorry, I know we talked about it and I'd love to fix this for you. It's really important. And then depending on which site, in some cases, if there's reviews that look like they're fake or from a competitor, you can actually mark those and they might be pulled down, so it's not going to hurt your overall reputation. You also want to double check all of your social media profiles. So make sure you have a page on all of the top networks out there. You want to make sure that you have available. Make sure you really, it's a great way for people to go and kind of share information about firms that they work with other people. So the more information you have on your Facebook page, the easier it is to get new clients that way. And then you also want to be social. So if there's anything up there that you haven't responded to, or if you haven't posted regularly, now's a great time to do that. Another thing that's really important to do on an annual basis, if not more often, is double check your admin and technical things. So make sure that you have access to all of the important accounts out there. If somebody was in your company who is no longer there, make sure you remove their access to that. And then tracking is very important. So if you don't already have Google Analytics or Google Search Console set up on your website, you want to make sure you get that done. Next, let's talk about how to reflect back and measure your past marketing results. And the reason you want to do this is really important to make sure you understand what worked and what didn't work. So first thing I always recommend, start to list off all of the different efforts you did and include how much you actually spent on those. Next, identify the ways you can track how well it worked. So if we're talking about a website, did you have Google Analytics? Can you look to see how many visits that you got? Did you use a phone number that was unique to a certain effort? Did you manually record how clients heard of you? In some cases, that's what you have. Somebody calls in, the receptionist says, how did you hear about us? And tracks that information. So you want to understand what that tracking metric is for all of those different channels. And then finally, can you go back and find out how many new clients did you get? How much revenue did you generate? How many prospects? This is really important to make sure you can look back and understand what worked. You're going to want to calculate the return on investment for every channel. So when you look at that dollars generated by your clients, and you compare it to how much you actually spent on the advertising, you'll be able to see what works for you. So if we add that ROI column in here, you can see what channels worked well, what channels did not. And there might be some notes that you have, like maybe you put something out there with a wrong phone number, which might mean it could be effective if it was done correctly. So this is the information you need to know so that you can decide what to do again in 2020. So let's talk about a few tips you can use to really improve your marketing in 2020. So I've already talked a little bit about adding tracking. If you have not done that yet, now is the time to do it. So there's a bunch of different ways you can. You can use a phone number, a special tracking phone number that's unique to whatever effort you're using. And that way, if you get any phone calls on that number, you can see how many phone calls you get in, and you can see how successful it is. You could just train your staff to ask the question. You could use unique website pages. So if you're using Google Ads or Facebook ads, or just a display advertisement on somebody else's website, you want to have a unique landing page that's going to have that ability to track how many people came to that unique URL. You can also look at SEO reports. So if you're working with a firm who is doing your SEO or your search engine optimization for you, they should be providing you reports telling you how you're doing. And then you can look at website analytics just generally to see how does your traffic come to you, what different sources, what are the referring URLs. There's a lot of information you can get. And then when you take that information and we go back to that tracking spreadsheet we saw earlier, you now have that information moving forward. So even if you weren't tracking in 2019, that's okay. Start tracking it moving forward in 2020 so that you're going to make sure you get the best out of your marketing. So the next thing we want to do is make sure you build on your success. If you found something that worked, do more of it or do something similar. So for example, if you tried Facebook ads and it worked well, you could do it more often, or you could look for other audiences and try a different message. You could use the same offer in a similar channel. So instead of Facebook ads, use Google ads. And you can use similar verbiage throughout your website. So take advantage of what worked and then use that to expand on other places. So you might do with like Google ads. Are there similar keywords? Is there a different geography? Can you improve things by testing different ads? Or maybe just increase your budget so you get more visibility. Next, you want to try to make sure you have a secure website. And this is really visible by looking at the HTTPS before your URL. It's really important because when a website serves the information to a user via a website that's HTTP, other people can view that information. It's not encrypted. And with the right experience, somebody can hack it in. You want to make sure that you're using encryption. And it's going to make sure that when you're looking at the URL, you're actually going to see that little padlock showing before the URL. It's really important because you want to make sure that your clients can trust you. You also want to make sure that as Google starts to see people who are more secure as more authoritative, eventually, and it hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure eventually Google is actually going to prioritize those HTTPS sites. And if you log on with a URL that's not secure, there are browsers that would actually potentially say, hey, you don't want to move forward here. There's a security risk, and it could actually prevent people from seeing your website. So you want to make sure that you do that if you have not yet. You want to conduct some competitive research this year. It's a great way to try to see what others are doing and how you can do better. So what I recommend is look at online review sites. Find out what people like about your competitors, what don't they like, and what can you do to make yourself better. So here's some examples that we pulled off. Somebody saying, my experience was horrible, her professionalism was bad, I could smell alcohol. We've got people complaining that the price was changed or an additional fee came on. When you read reviews like this from your competitors, That tells you exactly what to add to your marketing in order to make it better. Transparent pricing, no hidden fees, professional approach, treat your business like its own business. You can use those negative comments from your competitors and turn it around so it's a positive that your firm is looking for. And when people are going to be complaining, they're not going to be complaining about you because you're directly attacking all of that. So another thing you want to do is try to improve your online reputation. So 70% of clients want to read an online review before selecting an accountant. And that's true with a lot of different industries now. I mean, how many people go to a doctor without trying to Google their name first to see what people say about them? So it's not only existing clients, though, it's not only new clients, it's existing clients. So if somebody needs to search your phone number first before they give you a call, and they see the star ratings that are negative, if it looks like you only have 2 stars, that's going to impact your existing clients too, not just potential new clients. So it's really important to make sure you're working on that. So you want to claim those profiles if you haven't. So, people can review your firm on Yelp without you actually owning or having any say about what that profile page is. And that happens in a lot of places. So you want to make sure you claim it. You want to respond to all the reviews. If it's positive or negative, make sure you put a comment there. Make sure people understand that you heard it. And if it's negative, try to address it. So if somebody in the future looks and says, oh, this person only gave you 2 stars, but you said, I'm really sorry, I want to make sure we do right by you, please call us. It's going to show that you care enough to try to correct the situation. You also want to ask your clients to leave positive reviews. You can put a sign up in your office that says, happy with your service, reviews on Yelp. It's a great way to get more reviews. And so important for people to remember is if you do get a bad review, it's okay. It happens. Not everybody is always happy. But if you can get more positive reviews, it pushes down that impact of the bad reviews. So, like in school, 5 A's plus 1 D equals an A-. That's not so horrible. So try to get more good reviews if you do find that you have a bad review. And there's other ways you can get people to give those reviews. Ask them. Showcase that you have these good reviews on your website and link to them. And people will be more likely to follow them and leave another one. Put up a sign in your office. If you send out emails, on the bottom of your email in your signature, it can say, review us on Yelp, review us on Facebook. You could utilize a reputation marketing service. Now, another thing that you want to consider in 2020 is really focusing on your search marketing. Search marketing is a combination of SEO and pay-per-click, and it's all about being there when somebody is looking for you. That's the most important thing, is being there when somebody is looking for your type of service. So think about what words you want to be showing up for. Is it accountant, accounting, payroll services? What are all those variations? So we want to start by looking at that. And then where do you actually show? Is it in the paid area? Is it in the natural, organic listing area? That's going to tell you how you need to attack next. So search optimization is trying to get yourself to show organically. So showing at that bottom part of the page so that, one, you don't pay extra money to show there, but it's a trusted source. It's Google says these are the best matches for what you're searching for, and they're websites that we trust. So it's a really great way to get some credibility by having those organic. Pay-per-click is a way to make sure you show up if you wouldn't otherwise, or if you don't show up until the 10th page and you want to show up on the first page. It's a advertising vehicle where you only pay if your ad is actually clicked. So you bid on a certain amount, how much you're willing to pay for a click. Maybe it's $2 a click, maybe it's $5 a click. And based on what you bid on, that determines where your placement is, whether you're at the top of the page, whether you're in the middle of the page. It's a bidding system, basically. So in order to implement stronger search marketing efforts, you want to think about what is your goal, and that's going to help you determine what it is that you want to do. So if you're trying to Make the biggest impact as fast as you can. Combining search engine optimization and pay-per-click efforts are going to get you there. They're going to bring you to the front. Search engine optimization takes a little bit longer because not only are you trying to optimize your website, but you're trying to fight everybody else out there who's doing the same thing. But pay-per-click, you can go and set up an ad and have your ads showing within hours. So that's a good way if you need a fast strategy, is using that pay-per-click. If you have a longer term, you can use the search engine optimization. If you want to dominate, do them both. So what is search engine optimization? Well, you want to build pages dedicated to the service that you want to rank for. You want to have internal links too within your pages that's going to talk about those, where if somebody comes to your homepage and they're looking for payroll services, you have a link on the homepage that's going to bring you to the payroll services page. Something else you can do is write a blog post that targets the services or the keywords that you want to be found for. Blog posts are great because it gives you a chance to really expand and talk more about that service and really kind of showcase who you are and what you guys can do. And then share those blog posts with other people on your social media pages, because it's going to get more clicks. It's going to bring more people to your website to learn about you. Now, if you aren't showing on the first page of results and you are willing to pay, then that's when Google Ads or even Bing Ads come into play. You build a landing page or web page dedicated to that service. You sign up for an account. You select what the keywords are that you want to show up for. You can actually do a lot of targeting based on geographic location. You can use demographic information. There's a lot of different ways to target within Google Ads. You set a budget and you let it run. And that's going to start to bring you those people even sooner because it's going to be something you can turn on immediately. Now, another thing you can consider is getting more backlinks. So trying to think about how you can build some credibility on your website is letting Google know other people think that you guys are an important website. So that's what a backlink is. It's a link from one site to another. Ways that you can generate those is get your website in online directories. If there's a chamber of commerce maybe in your area, join that. They might have a directory that you can have put in there. Or maybe there's a group of accountants in the area, your state association you can get your information into. You could also guest blog from somebody in the industry. So when they put up their blog, at the bottom of it, it's going to say article written by you, and here's a link to your website. There's a lot of sites where you can answer questions and link to your website within the signatures. Make sure you have your social media profiles. Another good thing is a testimonial or case study for a system or service that you might use. A lot of cases, they'll call out at the end, you say that you really enjoy using this product. At the end, it's going to say your name and then a link back to your website. Those are all good, credible backlinks that you want to encourage because it shows Google that you have authority. Now, important thing, if you haven't done this in the past, is to build a content calendar. Now, content calendar is a way to look at all of the different initiatives that you're doing and try to make a cohesive plan about what you want to do when you want to do it. And it makes it a lot easier because if you kind of sit down and think about it, and look at it a year out, or even if you look out 3 months at a time, it's a lot easier to plan at once than waking up on Monday morning and saying, oh no, what am I going to do this week? So planning ahead is really helpful. Ideas you can use would be blog posts or articles, quizzes, questions. You can use videos to showcase your business. You can put up just tips for tax seasons, tips for small business owners. And try to target for your social media accounts 1 to 2 posts per week for maximum success. And here's kind of a sample of what it could look like. Each week you make a plan. You want to have a post, potentially an article. Is there something special you want to do on your website? Is there advertising that you're going to be running that you want to plan for? So everything is very cohesive. Everything makes sense. Doesn't have to be complicated. An Excel spreadsheet's all you need. Just a way to track it and be able to go back and understand what were you planning to do this week so that you don't have to sit there and think of an idea every single week. Now, when you are building that content calendar and thinking about what you're going to post, here's some do's and don'ts. News about your industry is great. Tips and advice, very good. Tasteful cartoons and images, stories, photos that are going to help personalize who you are and what you guys do. Those are great things you should be posting and sharing. Stay away from controversial opinions, angry responses to upset clients, anything about politics. In personal posts, you're really promoting your family. When you talk about your kids or family events, you really want to try to make sure that you're presenting that professional front that people are going to trust. Now, another important thing to do is to make sure you view your client communications. So, everybody has ways that they talk to their client. It might be, thank you for coming into the office, or a reminder to come into the office, or, hey, tax season's coming, don't forget about all of these tips and things that you need to know. So you want to be proactive, and you want to have a plan for what that communication strategy looks like. You want to think about, do you have clients who don't come in or last-minute cancellations? How are you talking to people? What channels are you using? And are you being proactive? Are you getting in front of it and trying to stop some of the problems from happening before they do? So there's a lot of different kind of communications you can consider. This is kind of just an overview slide that has some of the different ideas of things that you can talk about and the best way to do this. So most people are using calls and voicemails. Text messaging is a great way to communicate with people. Email, also a nice, easy way. It's non-invasive. Direct mail, amazingly enough, everybody thinks it's going to be dying off, but it stands out because there's not nearly the volume of direct mail that there used to be. And then social media, people spend a lot of time on social media. So it's a great way for talking about your brand, reinforcing who you are, or if you've got some special information people need to know about, appointments are available, reach out to us now and schedule your tax review. It's also a 24-hour channel. So when you're using social media, you can reach people if they're out searching and looking at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, which is a great reason to use it. So a couple of ways that you might want to consider reaching out to clients. People you haven't talked to in 3 or more months to see what their goals are and if there's anything you can do to help them. Consider sending quarterly newsletters to build relationships and share updates, especially if you're starting to add new services. It's a great way to let people know that you can help them with other things. You can send direct mail to your loyal clients, and you can use automated reminders for upcoming appointments to help remove people from having Now, you can also think about updating your branding going into 2020. Your branding says a lot about you, but what does your branding say about you? Do you have a consistent personality and tone of voice across your channels? What are your colors, your images, your fonts? What's that overall feeling or impression that clients are left with? So some of the things that you can do that will make an impact. Potentially update your logo. If you haven't updated your logo in 10 years, it might be time for a little refresh. You can update your website design, even if it's small things like colors or fonts, or you can do a complete redesign. Update your print pieces, letterheads, change your profile pictures, rewrite website and promotional copy. Some of the things that you look at, people look at the same thing every day. And they kind of get used to it. Like if you're driving down the road and you see a sign every day, you don't even think about what that sign says anymore until it changes. And as soon as it changes, everybody notices. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that that was there. Same thing. Sometimes people kind of go a little blind to your marketing. So when you make a little bit of a change, it starts to get more attention. Now, let's talk a little bit about social media. Social media is huge. 70% of people are visiting Facebook every day. I mean, it's amazing the volume of people who are out there. So you want to think about using social media because it can help you increase your leads, your referrals, more website traffic. It keeps you top of mind as people are seeing your updates. It's very measurable. You can see how many people have seen your post or interacted with it. It helps with your SEO. It's more cost effective because it can be free or it can be very targeted if you're doing advertising on it. And it's a really great way to stay engaged with your clients. So some things that you want to keep in mind when you're using social media: make sure you're using a branded cover and a profile picture. Don't leave a generic picture. Make sure people know who you are. Include information about your firm in the About section with the contact information people need. Try to create posts, respond to comments, and mix up what it is you're promoting and talking about. You know, the educational pieces are good, promotional pieces are good, but if you see one of or too many of each one, you might lose some people. And then ask people to like your page. You know, if you've got a website, make sure you've got the links to your social media pages up there. And make sure that you talk about it. You know, hey, I just posted up a photo on Facebook. You should go check it out. Or within your email signature, have a link to it. Now, Facebook ads is something that not a lot of people use, but it's very effective. So we wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of this going into 2020. It's a great way to promote services to certain individuals. You can set your budget. You can target a certain group of people based on geography or demographic information. When they click on your ad, you decide where they go so they can learn more about your firm or their services. There's lots of different types of ads. You can run campaigns that are like campaigns. So people who want to come and like your page. You can have call to action. So you can have a promotion about a certain special or schedule your appointment. And somebody clicks on that, it brings them over and there's something they can call your company and schedule that appointment. Or you can bring people to your landing page. And when they go to that landing page, they can submit a form, and then you're able to actually see who it is. Some of the different ad types they have, you can have just a single image. This is probably what most people are used to seeing when you're out there on Facebook. There's also video ads, and it really helps engagement because it's a great way for somebody to, not just see the ad, but click on it and start to learn a little bit about you without actually leaving. And then you can have a carousel or slideshow. So if there's lots of different things that you want to promote, you can have multiple images and headlines. It's a great way to showcase lots of different things. I think right about now, everybody's probably seeing all of the shopping sites are using these kind of things where they have a lot of different images that you can take a look at. So the last thing I want to say is make sure going into this year, you test new strategies. So this is just a really high-level overview of a lot of the different strategies that you could be using. We talked about some of these, not all of them. But when you think about what you're using this year and what you could be doing next year, at least test one new thing. Ideally, you test a couple of them. You'll find some work for you, some don't work for you. But it's really important to make sure that you're trying things, because technology evolves, the way people consume information evolves, and you want to make sure that you're evolving with them. So we've got time now for any questions that people might have. Like I mentioned, you should have a question button on your GoToWebinar toolbar. You can click on that and just type in any questions that you have. If you guys do want more information about anything that we talked about today, we can help you with just about everything. We do websites, pay-per-click, social media, search engine optimization. Or if you just have some more questions about something, we've got people who are ready to answer the phone and talk to you a little bit about it. Or you can send us in a message. Just looking. So questions, somebody asked about downloading the slides. We will send these out to you after the presentation's done. It might take up to 24 hours to get it sent, but we'll get both the video and the slides sent out. So I know there's a lot of information here. It's a lot more than anybody can actually write down. And seeing another question. is there solutions that help with the tracking of the marketing efforts that we offer. So depending on what it is that you're using with CPA Site Solutions, we've got various things. For example, our search engine optimization clients get monthly report cards emailed to them. They also have a dashboard they can log into to see how the efforts of that is actually working out. So different solutions have different things that will definitely tell you how it's working, work with you to make sure you're understanding what it is that we're doing and the impact on your business. Somebody is asking, how important are reviews? In this day and age, reviews are very important. A lot of people are using reviews in place of actually talking to somebody or getting a physical recommendation. So maybe you don't know anybody who's used a certain type of firm before, but you can go and you can look online and you can see those reviews. And it helps to establish trust in people before you even call them up. And if you find somebody you're considering with only 1 or 2 reviews, you're not going to call them up. You're not going to become one of their clients. So it's really important to make sure that you guys are on top of those. And you want to do that by making sure, all the things that we talked about. Make sure you claim your listings. Make sure you respond to reviews. Ask clients for new ones, hopefully positive ones. And try to make sure that you can balance things out. So if you've got a bad review or 2, have a good comment back to it, but then also try to get more good reviews so it'll kind of push down the value of that bad review. Let's see, another question. How soon should I get started with search engine optimization to improve my website ranking before tax season? Honestly, ideally, you want to start doing it as soon as you possibly can. Search engine optimization does take time, but the sooner you can start to optimize it, the sooner you'll start to see those results. And knowing that we're months away from tax season, you really want to try to jump on that as soon as you can. If you're not able to jump on it really quickly, you could use pay-per-click to help balance that out, to start making sure that when you're ready to get those clients in, you're able to collect them using the pay-per-click and showing up on the listings where you want to. But search engine optimization is kind of a long-term strategy, so it could take months before you actually see the difference. Okay. Well, I think that's what we have for questions today. If you think of anything else, you can give us a call. The phone number is right here on this slide. Like I said, you'll also get an email. You can just reply to that with any questions you have, or just go visit our website. We've got a lot of information and a lot of resources about the things that we talked about here, white papers and videos and infographics, and they're all really great source of information. Just want to thank everybody for joining us today, and I hope you have a great day.